Futureproof is Street Level Photoworks' annual showcase of new talent in photographic image making, selected from across Scotland's photography and fine art degree courses. The cross-section of work by this new generation of young artists is a compelling insight into our place within the contemporary world, with personal stories, theatrical constructions, documentary observations on the social and the psychological, the poetic, the ordinary and the dramatic. The work of the 5 makers in this short film captures all of this and includes Gavin and Gareth Bragdon, also known as the Bragdon Brothers, Anne Mee Anacin, Ryan McCann and Katie Harris McLeod.
We are Gavin and Gareth, the Bragdon Brothers. We're originally from New Hampshire in the US, but lived all over and currently live in Edinburgh. We have just recently graduated from the BA Photography program at Edinburgh College. It was just one of those things where you start on something and you really get into it, build momentum, and suddenly your life just revolves around it. I didn't want to make photography just a hobby. I wanted to make a career out of it, so thus I chose to study it.
Photography grabbed me like no other medium. I really latched onto it. I suppose I chose to study it so I could use the course as a vehicle to be able to explore the depths of it and be able to devote my full time to it.
I suppose as far as any sort of theme goes, we're fascinated by how in photography you can point the camera at almost anything, no matter how mundane, and if you tweak things enough in whatever way, you can take anything and make it somehow different, more surreal than the thing itself. Like showing something that's invisible to the naked eye on another spectrum. Suppose that's where things like the off-camera flash come in.
I mostly like shooting my pictures completely unposed, allowing the unpredictable to happen and unfold. But every so often you'll run into something that's unique and special and worth stopping on the street. For example, this image was shot during the Scottish referendum. I came across this character that was extremely interesting. He had huge golden rings on both hands along with a cigar. I knew if I captured this image by just walking up with a flash gun, the image wouldn't have worked. I decided to stop the individual and asked him, "Can I take a picture of your rings?" Drunkenly, the man said, "Absolutely." And he put his hands into these huge fists of his massive golden rings, and I took the picture. I was trying to capture people running from the rain with their umbrellas unfolding and being blown away. And then at the corner of my eye saw this person hiding in one of the telephone boxes in the Royal Mile. I could just see the image coming. Sometimes you can just feel an image, and I could feel this one. I ran up to the phone box. The subject's head turned around looking straight at me. I knew the image was there. I pulled up the camera, hit the shutter, but the flash didn't go off. I looked at the back of my camera, only to see a completely black image. There was nothing there. When I got home, I put the image on the computer to edit it. I brought up the exposure, and I was surprised to see under the nothingness there was a picture, perhaps one of my best images.
Sometimes I get tired of shooting the streets, I get tired of shooting people. So I'll go down to the pond at Holyrood Park and I'll shoot swans instead. And this photo, I got right up close to one of the swans and it lunged right at me in my camera. I pulled back just in time, and out of total serendipity, I just got lucky that one of the streaks of car headlights in the distance managed to go right through his mouth. I'm not going to give away exactly how this picture was taken or how the man got up on the wall. I want to leave the viewer with a sense of mystery. I wish I could get pictures like this a lot more often, where turning the camera onto real life, the picture reveals a bizarre and strange moment as if out of a sci-fi or horror movie. For me, photography is about being able to stop, slow down, and actually connect with the world around you, rather than blindly rushing through it.
For me, photography was a way of escaping the cabin fever, the depression, finding something to fill my soul.
My name is Anne Mee Anacin, and I studied fine art photography at Glasgow School of Art. Now I live in Copenhagen in Denmark. I've always been creative and I played music for a lot of years. I've been photographing just as something I did since I got my first camera when I was about 12. Lens-based work has been my main way of expressing myself and my subject matters, as a way of showing hidden places in our busy life. My work surrounds different aspects of trying to demand change and to create even more awareness about climate change and about how plastic is ruining the world. I want to create more awareness with my visual language about plastic in different forms and the way plastic is making its way into our ocean, our planets, our body, and everywhere in our everyday life. The use of fibers, plastic, chemicals is something that's a big concern for me, as it will affect people now and in the future. The wind turbines in the ocean is a photograph that I've been pursuing for a long time. Flying back and forth from Denmark and Scotland, I've been photographing wind turbines in the ocean around Copenhagen. But this photo was from a trip to Denmark where I took a different route home through a ship hole in Amsterdam. And they have this huge wind turbine farm. And I was so happy when I saw it, as this was just what I've been waiting for. Photography means a lot to me. It's a way of expressing myself, and it's a way of showing what I see or how I see the world and what I focus on. Hopefully we won't make such a mess of the world so that it can still continue to be beautiful.
My name is Ryan McCann. I live in Edinburgh, where I was born and grew up, and where I studied professional photography at Edinburgh College. It was my dad who introduced me to photography, and I've been taking pictures from a young age as digital cameras were just becoming popular. My work focuses on how the changes in our modern society affect people. The images from this series look at how people behave in a society that has become addicted to technology and the online world. I wanted to explore the irony that the devices which are intended to connect us to each other have made it easier than ever to disconnect from the people and the world around us. The title of this image is Love Me Tinder. It's the first image from a narrative which aims to show the falsity of dating via mobile apps. Although the image was constructed using models, lighting, and compositing several images together, I wanted it to feel natural, as if the viewer is watching it unfold. The title of this image is Communication Breakdown. This image was planned to be totally different, with the baby's dad sitting on the couch in the background and the baby on the floor with them all engrossed in their own devices. To get the baby to focus on where the TV was, where I positioned the flash, we put on Peppa Pig, and he was immediately drawn to it. I realised this proved what I was trying to achieve more strongly than the original idea, and created the rest of the image around that by compositing in his mum on her phone. I think the most important aspect of photography is storytelling, whether this is through a constructed image which has been created to convey an idea, or a candid moment which has been captured in a way that allows the viewer to come up with their own story behind an image.
My name is Katie Harris McLeod. I come from Australia. I studied at Duncan of Jordanston in Dundee, and I now live on the Isle of Lewis. My initial interest in photography came from when I was a child. My father was a photographer, and naturally for me it felt like something I could do, and it just kind of led from there really. A lot of the themes within my work are kind of based on family narratives. My grandmother now has dementia and is in a care home, so I was given a box of her things, and nobody actually knew what the writing was that was in these diaries, and it turned out to be all these incredible poems. Felt like I had written the words myself. Her poems kind of spoke to me in a way that I just had to make work from them. Cailleach means old woman in Gaelic. In folklore it translates to divine hag or witch of winter. It's this kind of divine creature that is opening her wings or body or soul to the world, and releasing the pain and kind of taking on all these burdens at the same time. This seemed to personify my grandmother. Parts of myself, my mother, in a way, making these images was a way of a healing process for me as well, and an understanding, to understand life and this cyclical journey. There is a lot of repetition within my work. The idea of three: maiden, mother, crone, life, birth, death. And then these ideas are created into performative documentary style photographs of this creature in the landscape, specifically in barren and wild landscapes, which you see a lot of. Well, you're surrounded by them completely up here on the Isle of Lewis. This kind of empty space allows for a lot of poetic, playful gestures and ideas. For me, photography lets you see the world through the way other people see the world, which has always been something that really intrigues me.